and thank you for joining me. I've got another short video for you today which I hope you're going to find helpful. Now, as a miniature furniture maker, I'm sure you've experienced this, where you've built a piece of furniture or you're renovating a piece and you can't quite find the right hardware. Now, I've experienced this recently with a piece that I've designed for my doll's house bedroom. I want to make a 3-drawer chest with antique brass drop handles and matching casters. So these are the little handles that I'm going to be using. Antique brass drop handles. Got that lovely little shaped plate bit at the back, and then this little sort of teardrop shape drop at the front, really pretty. And then these are the casters. Now these aren't actually brass, but they're the colour of brass, really bright gold brass, and obviously, as you can see, they don't go together. So I'm now going to show you how to remedy that and turn these brass casters into antique brass casters. So we're going to begin by preparing the casters, or whatever piece of hardware you're using for paint, and you'll normally find that they have a layer of lacquer on them. So we want to remove that first of all, and to do that I'm going to be using nail varnish remover. So I've got this pot here and I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of nail varnish remover in there, just enough to coat the bottom there. And then I'm going to drop the casters into it and just let those soak for a moment. And then once they've been soaking for a little while, we'll come back and use a paintbrush to clean those off. So once you've left those soaking for a little while, just take one in your tweezers like that. And then I've got a small paintbrush here. I'm just going to make sure that that nail varnish remover is getting into all the little nooks and crannies. So just brush it like that. And then I've got a clean cup of water here, so I'm just going to wash that off in there. Give it a good swirl around. And then I'm just going to pop that onto a piece of kitchen towel to dry. And then do the same with the next one. Once they've dried off, find an old piece of corrugated card, and corrugated will work better because you need something with a little bit of padding in it, and attach a piece of masking tape to it, sticky side up like that, and just use a couple of pieces to stick that down at either end. And then you can take your casters, and again I'm using tweezers just so I can work it into the card. Get a hold like that and put the little spike at the top of the caster into the cardboard like that. Push it right down. And the tape just helps to keep them more secure. I'm just going to spread them out a little bit as well. I've got room then to get all the way around with my brush. Tape's not sticking very well today because it's so hot. And then I'm also going to have a go at this little doorknob here. And that's antique brass, but I'm going to do that in chrome. I can push into the card as well. And then if you've got anything flat, like I've got this push plate here, you can just stick that directly to the tape like that, or a letterbox or a door knocker or anything that's flat, and you're not going to see the underside like that. So I've got my smallest detailing brush here, and this is a size 0. And I'm going to begin by giving each of the pieces a coat of primer. And this is the Humbrol Enamel Matte 01, and it's a matte grey primer. Now I've given it a shake, and the important thing with these little paints, the primers and the actual gloss and the metallics, is that you really need to give them a good stir before you use them. So use a cocktail stick, and you want to get right into the bottom of the tin Let me just see if I can pull that out and see how it all just clumps together at the bottom. So all you're actually getting at the top is just a sort of watery liquid that hasn't actually got the primer in it or the colour. So give it a really good stir. You want to keep going until you can feel that all of that sort of clumped together paint at the bottom has disappeared and you've got a nice smooth even liquid. So that's now had a really good stir. That's now a nice even liquid in there. I'm just going to clean off that cocktail stick and now apply the first coat of primer. And I made that sound as though I'd be doing more than one coat. I won't, I'll just be doing one coat of primer and then one coat of the colour that I want to use. So move it around so you make sure you're covering all of the brass. And especially with these casters as well, you want to make sure you get your brush inside underneath the wheel. Otherwise you'll still be able to see the brass showing through there. And it's so strange because I've had people ask me for certain things in different colours or finishes before, and I've just never thought of doing this. And I was just looking through the Humbrol catalogue, all their lovely products, and saw the metallic colours and thought, could maybe use those for hardware. And I did have a lady as well contact me through Etsy asking for silver doorknobs, and you just don't see them in silver, you see them in brass or the antique gold. I've certainly never seen them in the silver before, and I just hope that lady's watching and if she's still after silver doorknobs that she'll give this a go. And I'll have all the Humbrol colours in my Etsy shop, all of those metallic colours, the primer as well, and I also do a range of small brushes. Again, with things like this push plate, make sure you get along the edges as well, so there's not going to be any of the original colour left. Okay. So that's the primer on. Now I'm going to leave that to dry overnight because it's getting quite late now. It's almost 5:30, so I'll leave that overnight and then we'll come back to it and apply the metallic colour in the morning. My primer has now been drying overnight, so that's completely dry. So we're now ready to apply the metallic paint. Humbrol do a really nice range of metallic paints, and I've got some of them here. We've got aluminium, silver, copper, gold, lovely chrome silver in the middle there, and antique bronze, bronze and brass. Now they don't actually do an antique brass, so I'm going to be using the brass number 54. And to darken that up a little, I'm going to be adding just a tiny drop of the matte black. But I'm going to start by giving my paints a really good stir. So they've now both had a really good mix, and I'm going to use this ceramic tile to mix my colour on. Just let that drip onto there. And that should be enough because I've only got the 4 casters to do. And then just a tiny, tiny bit of the black. Just drop that on there like that. I then want to mix those together, but leaving them sort of marbly like that. I don't want it to be a complete mixed colour. So can you see there how it's still not completely blended? And then I'm going to apply that to the casters. So all you need on there is the one coat, And I'm now going to have a go with that lovely chrome silver on the doorknob. So I've done the doorknob there in the chrome silver 191. I think that looks really nice. And the push plate there in the copper number 12. So I shall now leave those to dry. The paint on the casters is now completely dry and I'm really pleased with the results. And if I just bring in the little handles again that I'm going to use, you can see now that they match. So I can now make a start on my chest of drawers. And let me show you how the other pieces turned out as well. So there's the chrome doorknob, and there's the door push plate in the copper finish next to the original brass, and I think that looks really good too. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and that this technique will come in useful to you. And you can find all of those metallic paints in my Etsy shop, as well as the detail brushes. So that's it for today, and I'll see you soon.